I shall do it.
The Blight. How will you end it? Is that all? It is surrounded by an ocean of darkspawn. How will you reach it? If you reach it, how will you slay it? You say you are a Grey Warden. I have heard stories of this order. Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear of the Wardens. So far, I am not impressed. Evidently not.
It's been a long day. Rest would be welcome. Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken. Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time, but there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done. Oh, no. I'm not the sort of person that leaves things unfinished. I'll see this through, I promise. Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower? You are younger than I, and your nerves yet have some steel in them. Did you feel any fear facing the abominations? The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone, replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say. Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured, or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity. Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it. Irving told me about how you became a Grey Warden, and that unpleasant incident that occurred prior to your departure from the Circle. None other. I respect the decision you made, and the way you handled it. And it did not seem to affect Duncan's desire to recruit you. But that aside, you're a Grey Warden now, and perhaps I presume too much by saying this, but the Circle is proud of you. And perhaps you would be dead now. Thinking such things is neither productive nor good for your soul. You can agonize about how you should have been at the tower, or you can imagine that you weren't there because you had to be elsewhere. Sometimes it gives me comfort to think you were chosen. You survived the joining when others did not. Perhaps it was meant.
Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. What can I say to them? What they believe is what the chantry says, and the chant... Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am. But there is work to be done. Yes?
Yes. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. Very well. As you wish.
If there's anything I can do for you, the Darkspawn have attacked Lothering. Word has it they swarmed the entire... I wonder if there's... That's what I've heard on the road, anyway. Nobody seems to know where Oral Eamon is in all this business. If he were here, that's what I've heard on the road. I'm sure...
Why, thank you so much.
Most kind.
You have my thanks.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
What do you wish of me? What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? Ever since we discovered the condition of the Mage's Tower, I had wondered if it might be recoverable, but I had yet to speak of it to you. How fortunate that you found it on your own. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately. Secrets. My mother has many of them, and this tome represents... I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth. Interesting. I await your command. At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees. For a time, but one can I recall the first time I crept beyond. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling gold. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the... Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked... To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. And a foolish one. Beauty, without those lessons I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. They did indeed. To return to your original question, I find myself at times...
What do you need? Ask away. Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring. Oh, you aren't kidding. I think the Templar uniforms are as colorful as they are just so the Templars didn't feel dull in comparison. Last thing you want when you're about to take down some Maleficar out in the woods is to have him point and laugh at your taste in clothing, am I right? Oh, you know, between all the guilt and the hours spent in solemn prayer, any good Templar or priest is just bursting to tell a few good jokes when the opportunity arises. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring. You know, I like the way you think. But I guess if you're really curious, there's no harm in obliging. I have a couple of interesting looking moles I can show you later too, if you're interested. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. I felt like Al-Eamon had cast me off unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it. Using the abilities I have came after years of education and discipline that was difficult to... I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home? But it's not your home anymore, right? You can never go back for good. I think I understand how you feel. We won't all... though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens. But we'll... Anyhow, now... What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will... They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows... We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. Just left? You mean... I don't know. If eventually other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. I mean, eventually we would... But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it... Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us, Philip. About the... What do you need?
You are... That is... unexpected. Callow? It is a word in your tongue. It means without feathers, as a new-hatched bird. Shall we move on, then? I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware. I know that my failures were my own. I told you before that I was sent here. I was not sent alone. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside with... Until the night week, they came from everywhere. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell. I heard the stories of Ostagar, your kiths. I don't know how long I lay. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers. And my sword was gone from my hand. I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it. They said they found me with nothing. I killed them. With my bare hands. I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down. That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath. If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now. Near Lake Calenhad. Perhaps those words are...
The Circle of Magi stands ready to assist. There are always